This video is sponsored by Squarespace. How's it going, guys? It is Chad here from Lutoons, and welcome back to another drawing video. And since it's Disney month, it's going to be a Disney themed drawing video, of course. So what we're going to be doing is I chose 4 Disney characters and I'm going to be drawing them 10 years later, just sort of projected 10 years down the line, see how their lives are going. And just all what I think, of course. And during the video, I will be putting some commentary over top just to sort of explain some of my choices. As always, I'll be using a Wacom drawing tablet and a copy of Flash CS5 to do all of the drawings, even though I know you guys are still going to ask me, even though I said that. So that's about all the pre-info that you need. Let's get in and do some drawings. Okay, so to start it off, we have Lady Tremaine. A lot of you guys will know that of all the Disney villains, this woman scares me more than any other. So I thought I would take some revenge on her for all the nightmares she gave me and sort of turn her into an old lady 10 or so years down the road. But as I was drawing it, I realized it was kind of just looking the same while simultaneously creeping me out. So I ended up scrapping this one. Let's move on to some of the ones that I did finish. Of course, we had to do a 10 years later version of everybody's favorite heartthrob, Jim Hawkins. I've always said in countdowns and videos, I love Treasure Planet. It's very underrated and not a lot of people seem to have seen it. But it was only after a few years of running my channel that I realized that Jim Hawkins is like this huge deal with all the fangirls. There's so much fan art and crazy stuff when I was looking for reference images. It's kind of mind-blowing. But anyways, hopefully those same fans will appreciate my older Jim Hawkins, and he's not really that old. He's actually still younger than I am if you put him 10 years ahead of where he was in the movie. So basically, your Jim Hawkins, he's still got to be this adventurous guy that he is from the movie, but I think at this point he's entering his dashing rogue phase. Every young adventurer hits that phase, and of course he's still rolling along with his buddy Morph, who has not aged. I don't suspect that morphing creatures do age very much. So there's your Jim Hawkins. I had to get rid of the iconic ponytail. I was reminded of that phase in many little boys' lives where they're rocking that rat tail, and there comes a time when it's just gotta go. Sorry, Jim, but I think you look much better this way. And I'd also like to point out something interesting I learned while drawing Jim here. He's got very strange eyes. They're kind of these wide circles and they're very far apart, and they often have like the shadow cast over them. I never noticed how strange his eyes actually are compared to your standard Disney male lead. So that was something interesting that came with drawing this character, but it was cool to learn. So next we have the classic and beloved Disney villain, Scar. Of course you're saying, well, Scar died at the end of The Lion King, which is kind of true, but you never really see him die. Of course, you don't really see many Disney villains die on screen. But when it comes to The Lion King, I always kind of had this theory or alternate reality in my mind that Scar had somehow escaped that hyena attack. Whether he was able to sort of slip through a few rocks or cleverly talk his way out of it after they had begun attacking him, or something along those lines. I always thought, what if Scar had actually escaped from that attack? And I love the idea that he sort of slinked away. He was just, grievously wounded and burned from the fire and the sparks. He slips away from Pride Rock and manages to use his craftiness and his resourcefulness to get himself integrated in a whole different culture, a whole different group of animals, where he's sort of bringing back those devious motives and starting from the ground up, working his way up to trying to control things all over again in that deliciously evil Scar way that we all love. You could see Scar is kind of mangy and burned, and his mane is getting kind of gray. I really just liked the visual of this, and I love the idea that Scar did survive that. Now, I know lions only live to be about 10 or so years old anyways, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to send Scar down the road 10 years, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense for lions to talk. Next, we have one of my very favorite Disney princesses, Vanellope von Schweetz. Now, this is an interesting one because Vanellope wouldn't really progress in her life over time. I mean, she's a video game character, so she's kind of going to always exist as that young child character that we all know. So I didn't update her wardrobe very much. This is kind of just, I don't know, an alternate reality or maybe an unlockable character or something like that. But this was really fun to draw, and it's really interesting. I've actually done Vanellope in another drawing video, but I don't think it turned out quite as good as this one. It's interesting to do the 3D Disney characters or 3D anything and try to bring that into a 2D world, so that's always fun. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I tend to be pretty bad at drawing women by and large. Maybe it's not the best in the world, but I'm really happy with it, and I think she looks great. I mean, this is the sassy, like, 16-year-old Vanellope that I would probably imagine. And yeah, I get the sense she's still racing, hitting the pavement hard, and kicking ass. And for our final drawing, I wanted to pick some more obscure characters. So I thought of those two orphans from Aladdin. I was wondering, where would those two orphans end up, after Aladdin helped them out and hooked them up with some bread? How had their lives been since then? Maybe a little too far with that last part. Alright, hopefully you guys enjoyed the drawings, but before we head out, I'd like to say a quick thank you to this video's sponsor, Squarespace. And I'm not just blowing smoke. About a year ago, when I decided to make my own personal portfolio for graphics work, I tried all of the platforms out there to make a website, and Squarespace was the best by far. It's super easy to use, and what's awesome is you don't need to know how to code. If you know how to drag and drop an image, then you can design a gorgeous, professional-looking website with Squarespace. And if you sign up for a year, they'll give you a free domain name. I'm still using mine, and it's awesome. Those domain names can be really expensive all on their own. So start your free trial today by going to squarespace.com/LuTunes. You can click on through. I put a link down in the description. And when you use offer code LuTunes, you can save 10% on your first purchase. But that is all the time we have for today. I gotta get back to drawing. Maybe see where Carl ended up in 10 years from Up. Oh wait.